No, I feel weird.
Don't feel weird.
Hey guys, it's Andrea, and today I am doing another video. Today I'm actually doing a book haul, and it's been kind of a while because I haven't bought in books in about 3 or 4 months because I've been kind of, well, I would like to say I have good self-control, but really it was just because I was broke. But now I have money. Stop. But now I kind of have a little bit of money, so I bought some books. Stop it. So, yeah, now I have 14 new books, which is exciting. Just not very good for the whole cutting down the TBR thing, but, you know, whatever. It's exciting because they're new books that I want, so, ha. Any louder there?
Sorry.
The first book I'm going to show you guys today was actually a gift from an awesome, amazing friend of mine, Shannon. She also has a YouTube channel. It's Leaning Lights. If you aren't subscribed to her or don't know who she is, I will leave her links down below, and you definitely should check her out. She's really amazing, and I really admire how consistent she is as a booktuber, which is something I struggle with. So she's just really good, and you should definitely check her out. She ended up sending me a book, which is amazing, and I'm super excited for this book. I've wanted to read it. She loves it, and the cover is just absolutely gorgeous. And that is The Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. And just, it's so pretty. This book is just so gorgeous. And then you even have like the gold lettering on the side here. It just... I'm super excited to read this one because Shannon loves it so much. You just creeped the hell out of me for a second. I'm super excited to read this one because Shannon really, really loves it. And I want another fantasy, and from what I know, the romance isn't super, super duper like the main center stuff. And so I'm just, you know, excited to read something fantasy. And it's adult, which is always fun to add another thing. I'm probably going to start this soon just because I'm really excited. And I'm trying to continue a video.
Alright.
And yeah, so thank you, Shannon. That was really amazing of you. And I'm really excited to read this. Don't do random books. There's an order.
There's an order?
Leave it.
Okay, let me do the next one.
You're not going to introduce it. You don't know the books.
I'll say the title and then hand it off to you.
The next book is a little
Shadow's
faster.
Edge.
Next, I got Shadow's Edge by Brent Weeks, and this is actually the second book in the series. I already own the first one. I already owned it, and I read it a little while ago. And so I finally decided to pick up the second book when I was at Barnes & Noble's the other day, so that I finally can read it and continue on with this trilogy. Next, when I was at Barnes & Noble's, I got The Shadow Reader by Sandy Williams. This is another adult book, and this one is another fantasy novel. It has something to do with, I think she works for a Fae King and something, I don't really remember exactly, but I've had this on my want to read like thing on Goodreads forever and on my wish list. So I finally picked it up and I'm excited to read it. The next book I have is another adult fantasy novel, and that is Prince of Thorns by Mark Lawrence. And I've had this on my wish list for quite a while too, and I think I remember something about how it's kind of like graphic and hardcore and doesn't like really go easy on you, which I'm really excited about because I love that kind of stuff. And the next book I have is another adult fantasy novel, and that is The Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss. This is the second book in his series. I've already read the first one, In the Name of the Wind, and it's so, so good. And that was actually one of my first experiences with adult fantasy, and I really liked it. It took a little bit for me to get into, but I ended up enjoying it a lot. And so I finally picked up the second book. I've been wanting to read the second book, but I also haven't been too rushed on it because the third one has even yet to come out. Doesn't even have a release date yet, I don't think, because this author, he likes to take his sweet old time writing his books, which if they turned out to be fabulous, awesome, but he's taking a lot of time. I mean, I'm not judging, but I kind of want the other one to come out. The next book I have is Firefight by Brandon Sanderson. This is the second book in the series. The first one is Steelheart, and I loved that book. I believe I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I read it a year ago when it came out, and this one came out in January. And I'm excited to read this one as well and kind of get back into the world. All these people with these superpowers are actually villains. None of them are good. And our main character, he works in part of this really rebellion group to help take them down. It was a really good first book, and I'm really excited to read this one as well. Next, I have The Eternity Cure by Julie Kagawa. I got this from Amazon, and this has the deckled edges as well. I actually really like sort of how these books are made with like flaps and deckled edges. I just recently read the first book. I read that with a friend of mine, Kate, and we did a buddy read, and I enjoyed it quite a bit, and I'm actually really excited to read this one because I think it could be even more fun given how I think it's gonna go based on the end of the first one. So I got the second one because we're gonna read this together as well. We'll be starting it after the 17th. So soon. And then after that, I'll probably be picking up the third one to read it. This is about vampires, and in the first one, this girl, she hates vampires, and she ends up getting turned into one, and then her dealing with that. Can't really say what this one's about because it is a second book, but yeah, you should check out the first one. It was really good, and if you love vampires like I do, then get your fix. Next, I have Empire of Night by Kelly Armstrong. I just read the first book recently, The Sea of Shadows, and I read that with, well, I was supposed to be reading it with a friend of mine, Shannon, that I mentioned earlier, who got me the book, who's amazing. We were supposed to read it together, but she didn't really enjoy it, so she stopped reading it, but I actually ended up quite enjoying it, and so I continued on. I believe I gave it 3, maybe 3.5 stars, but given how the ending was, I'm really excited for this one. If it kind of goes the way I'm really hoping and thinking it could, this could be a really awesome book. My complaint of the first book was that I enjoyed it, but it's dual point of view, and I loved one, but did not like the other one. It's about these twin sisters, and one's really exciting and fun, and she's like spunky, and I love her. And the other twin is just the most boring, basic, boring, lame person, and oh, she was a pain. But I'm hoping this one's better, and given like the little twist at the end of the first one, I'm quite excited for this one. The next book I got, I've been needing to get for a long time now, and that is, Perfect Scoundrels by Allie Carter. This is the third book in the Heist Society series thing. It's kind of one of those series where there isn't a set amount of book, and each book is kind of a standalone. It just follows the same characters. And the only thing that really changes is maybe the characters' relationships build a little bit. But other than that, they each have their own plot going on. So the series could continue for as long as she wants or as short as she wants. But yes, this is the third book. I love Allie Carter simply because when I was young, she was like the first author I ended up loving in the first series that I ever read to completion, like waiting for each book. So there's a special part in my heart for Allie Carter, and the thing I love about her books is they're a little bit younger. Like, I could read it when I was younger. There isn't anything too mature or adult in it, but it's also still really good now as an adult reading these books. It's not super childish feeling like there's some books where it's like, oh, this is so young. It's just that these are clean, and I really like that, just for the fact that you can read it when you're young and when you're old and enjoy it in both ways. And I'm really excited as my sister gets a little bit older where I can have her start reading these and, you know, share that between us. So I'm excited about this. This is about sort of con artists and pulling heists and amazing things like that, things that I love, so I'm excited to read this. The next books I got were from Book Outlet, and I actually, whenever I go on Book Outlet, I could end up buying like a million books, so I really did work to narrow it down and only get books that I really did want. and not getting sequels to books I haven't even read yet, because I have a tendency seeing like a sequel to a book I own, I'll be like, oh, I should get that, it's cheap, blah, blah, blah. But then I've had times where I have a bunch of sequels to a book I don't even like the first one to. So I'm trying to only get sequels once I've read the first book. Anyways, back to actually what I got from Book Outlet. It was hard, but I narrowed it down, and these are the books I got. The first one I got was Crank by Ellen Hopkins. The reason I decided to actually pick this up is because Shannon, she is going to get mentioned all over the place in this video, so hey Shannon. She liked this a lot and I heard her talk about it, so I decided to pick this up because it sounded interesting and it's like a little bit more deep and serious, and I really enjoy that stuff. Also, this is actually a lot thicker than I thought it was going to be, but I'm super excited to read this. The next book was also influenced by Shannon, and that is Trouble by Non Pratt. I've never even heard of this book before until she mentioned it, but as soon as she mentioned it, I knew I wanted to read it. It just sounds really good. From what I remember, this book is about this girl, and I believe she's 15, and she's pregnant, and it's with, I think, her ex-boyfriend. And something, I want to say she doesn't want people to think it's his or something. So then she pretends it's the boys, like her, I want to say it's her neighbor or some like new kid at school. So they sort of pretend together that it's their baby. And I think it's about like their friendship and possibly romance blossoming and them like relying on each other and like helping each other out. I could be wrong. I don't remember at this moment. I just remember when Shannon talked about it, and when then I looked into it, it just sounded super interesting. And like I said, I'm really into contemporary right now, and the idea of it sounds super interesting, and I'm actually probably going to read this one really soon because it sounds good, and I'm hoping it's dual point of view. I don't know if it is. Yeah, it looks like it is. So, yeah, I'm excited about this one. Like, legitimately very, very excited. And I hadn't even have heard of it before. So, I'll let you know how it is because I don't think very many people have read this. So if it's really good, I'll just have to let you guys know so you can check it out too, because I love letting people know about books that they don't already know about. So thanks, Shannon. Next is another book that I've been wanting for a while, and that is Dangerous Girls by Abigail Hayes. First of all, not a big fan of this cover because this is supposed to be like a intense thriller, and this just does not look like it. This main girl's out on vacation with some of her friends, possibly a boyfriend too, and people end up getting killed. Some of them end up getting killed, and I think the main character ends up getting put on trial for their murders. And I think it's kind of trying to figure out what happened and who did it and what's going on and thriller murder stuff, which I love. So I'm really excited to read this. I've heard really good things about it from friends on Goodreads. So yeah, I'm excited. Next is actually a novella, and I've already read it, but I wanted to pick up the paperback copy, and that's Finding Cinderella by Colleen Hoover. I've had some up and down places with Colleen Hoover. Like, some books I've really, really disliked, but then there are books that I also love. And the Hopeless series by her I very much enjoy, and this novella I loved very, very much. And I have it on my phone, and I read it on there originally, but when I saw that this came even in paperback and it was on Book Outlet, I had to get it because I love it so much that I want a physical copy of it. So I got it, and it's just super cute, and if you've read Hopeless but haven't read this, you really should. And the next and final book I got from Book Outlet, and of this whole haul, is Opposition, which is the 5th book in the Lux series by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I was really excited to see this on Book Outlet because I have just read all 4 of them recently, and so I'm excited to finish this off. I'm not really sure how this is gonna go because I didn't quite necessarily like the end of the 4th one, so I guess we'll see. I don't even think I have to say how much I hate these covers, but I hate these covers. But the story's pretty good, and it's really addicting, and it's nothing like blow your mind away. But it's really fun, it's really addicting. It's about aliens, and it's just fun, good old time. So I'm excited to finish up and complete another series and see how this ends. Alrighty guys, that is my book haul. Thank you so much for watching me talk about all these books I finally cracked and spent money on. So I went from zero for a few months to all these books. So yay for taking down my TBR. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys!